When Gish came out in 1991, which at the time went on to be the largest selling independent album of all time, not a bad record to have, considering 40, 50 years of recorded, right? And the record went on to sell literally 500,000 copies on an independent. When that album came out, we had one article written about us in Chicago in the previous 2.5 years. Think about that. A city of 8 million people, 2 major newspapers. We have a thing called The Reader, which is like, you know, whatever, everybody has that paper, the free paper. One article, and the article that was written was Band of the Week. So it wasn't even like somebody decided to write an article, they were like, who are we gonna have for Band of the Week? And it was our week. So before we had any national success, we'd already gone to New York and been ignored. And we were told we were too this, too that, you can't play solos. So very early on when we came into contact with the Chicago independent scene and then the, let's call it the hipster world et al., the New York version, the LA version, the London version, and we saw we were gonna get fucked off, we made a very critical decision, which is we were gonna treat it like a wrestling angle. We were actually gonna flip the script, and rather than beg for attention, we were gonna fuck them off. And what made it interesting was every time we fucked them off, they came back even worse on us. But then the band got bigger. And if you watch it from a very, and I'm being overly simplistic, if you watch that tussle go back and forth, up until the band's sort of critical and material peak in 1996, okay, here's your nadir moment. Rolling Stone, fan poll, album of the year, Melancholy, band of the year, Smashing Pumpkins, critics, backer, you know what I mean? We weren't the, that was like, literally we couldn't have been any bigger at that moment. I mean, obviously at this point it was the biggest we ever got. And even then they were like, no. So everything that happened had proven our original intuition, which is no matter what we did, we were never gonna get it. We were never gonna get the good reviews, we were never gonna get the critical thing. So we saw it as an artistic opportunity. And to use wrestling parlance, the fans got worked too. You know what I mean by worked? Anybody? Does everyone make sense? Yes? I don't know. I'm just making sure everyone understands.
Yeah.
It's wrestling language. You know, the guy comes out and says, you know, you hurt my brother, and that's worked, right? We work the fans too. We continue to work the fans. So I think what'll be interesting is once the dust settles, whether it's tomorrow or in 20 years, there's so much material there that's unexplored because people have been caught in an emotional construct. It's like if you just finished watching a movie where the guy killed the little girl, and then you walked outside and you saw the guy in the street, and you're like, you're still mad at the guy even though it was a movie. That's me. That's me. People don't understand. It's a construct. It was a construct to destroy hipsters. It was a construct to destroy the critical system that exists, which is still totally full of shit. Totally sliding scale. Total sliding scale. Look at the stuff that gets attention that doesn't deserve attention. Look at the stuff that gets ignored. Look at a band like Rush. Literally sold out arenas and stadiums for 30 years, and it took, what, 35, 40 years for them to get their due. Why? Because they wrote nerdy lyrics, or, I mean, I'm saying the Pumpkins are only one of hundreds of bands that get ignored. Bands that deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's wrestling. And once you figure that out, okay. Now, did I know in 1992 when I was working The Interviewer, playing Siamese Dream Billy or whatever, did I know that 25 years down the road we were gonna have this thing called the internet, where everything you ever said or did was gonna live forever? No. But once I figured that out about 1998, I went even deeper into character. So let's freeze time for 1 second. What do you have? You have a mountain of critical work, which you can say is good or bad or indifferent. I think I've generated 400 songs, something like that, in 28 years. I've generated more material than anybody from my generation, by far. I've generated more classic albums than anybody from my generation. I mean, Adore now is rising up to that level. So there are easily, arguably, 3 critical top albums out of the canon. And I would argue more, but that's my opinion. Okay, so you have this critical mass of work, and then you have a person in me that is detached from the critical part of the work. Why? How do you detach the author from his book? How do you detach, Billy Ray Cyrus from Miley Cyrus or whatever? How do you detach people from their lineage? Because you want to. Because it's in your best interest to. The problem, and this is the good part, is the way the internet works now with the circles and the way things circle back, you can no longer detach me from it. So this 28-30-year fight that we initiated back in the day is now finally coming clear. So, you have what you have. Make sense?
Wizard.